Peace, family. So I want to let you guys know something actually pretty interesting that occurred to me, which is sometimes misfortune isn't really like you shouldn't pity people for misfortune. Misfortune, honestly, sometimes, assuming you survive, is a good thing because misfortune teaches. Misfortune makes you smarter. Now, that's not to say that the unfortunate are the smartest people, no. But misfortune makes you smarter. So let me give you guys an example. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I think they offered to buy my house in America. Now, this person doesn't have the kind of wealth that would go along with, prime real estate in Brooklyn, New York. You know what I mean? Like this is like the house in New York is unaffordable to most people. Especially it's me. You know what I mean? And this person is not a person of means by any means, right? So they offered to buy my house, and I said, look, man, that's just a dumb idea. That doesn't make any sense. And eventually after trying to convince them that they're kind of out of order, to even be requesting me to sell my American house to somebody who doesn't can't put two and two together, right? Who's regularly asking to borrow money, it's just absurd. So I tell them that, and eventually they block me. They block me, and I was like, what? I was like, okay. Now here's the catch. Like I said, they regularly ask to borrow money, and so I don't have the money. And so what I realized though is because this was my friend, right? I didn't have any collateral. I didn't have any backup plan. I don't know where they live. I don't know where they, all sorts of stuff. And so basically they just effectively robbed me, Now, how much money it wasn't break my bank kind of money, but it was a significant amount of money. I remember the first time I had, I'd actually given this person this kind of money, and they were just so ecstatic, calling everybody, bragging about it, right? So it's not a lot of money to me, but it's a lot of money to them. That said, right, that bad experience teaches me, hey, you know what? I should have more in place to collect my money. You know what I'm saying? I should have more in place to, collateral, so on and so forth. Now, as it were, there's this other thing called cheapness cost, right? This idea of the cheapness cost, which is basically when you're cheap, you have cost to them. So, although I don't know where this person lives, you can see I'm on a bus, okay? I'm on a bus heading to their family house. Because once upon a time, they did invite me to their family house. Do you guys remember that video of me dancing, doing that, that 1920s dance? I was in their family house. Now, I don't remember the location off the top of my head, but as it were, when I was back in my place, I think she was visiting, and we took a vehicle to her house. You get what I'm saying? And by taking the vehicle to her house, the record is saved in my app. And so I was able to, backtrack, after I figured out what date it was. And also, no, actually that's not what happened. What happened was I went to their house and, after figuring out, because I told you I had that video from let's say it was I don't want to say what month it was, but let's just say it was October, 2023 or something, right? And it wasn't there. It was, earlier, but still. I saw when the video was posted and I said, okay, I had posted this video after that, in another forum. And by doing so, I know what day I was traveling. Then I looked back at my, messages to myself, because sometimes, this is an important thing too, this is what I say about misfortune teaches you. When I go places, I sometimes send the location to myself, okay? By sending the location to myself, then I could always, if I needed to, in the near future, do that. Now, this was, like I said, 3 years ago or something, right? But because I sent the address to me, now I can track it and come back to where it is. Now, that's not to say that this person hasn't moved in the last 3 years, but this is the best I have. So, but my point being that, you learn from misfortune. And so what I would recommend, and that's another thing, like what I learned is do not loan money to people without collateral. Don't give people money without knowing where they live, knowing their parents' numbers, knowing their family numbers. Right now, unfortunately, they're telling me I can't do anything violent. So all I could do is like embarrass them, which is whatever. But even that is more than, like I said, this person blocks my numbers, and then I called them I think yesterday or 2 days ago. They didn't pick up throughout the entire day, and like I said, they're giving me stories about, oh, I'm sick, oh, I haven't been working, and that's fine. I get it, but it's like if you don't have a mechanism, like if I didn't go through this misfortune, I would just keep giving away money, if you will, and not getting it back. So it's like this kind of teaches you, hey, if somebody wants something, and this is something that somebody told me a long time ago, so I'm kind of stupid with it, but if somebody wants something from you, they need to work for it, and what's that work involved? Well, me personally, I'm thinking to myself, well, when I get to this house, maybe I might say that the TV looks pretty good. Now, I'm not saying obviously I'm not saying I'll take it, but maybe I'll say that, maybe not, obviously, because, the trouble is that I'm in another country where, you can't, you get deported, you know what I mean? So even this video is kind of like, but, you have to kind of show up and go up, if you will. Maybe, and I wish I could know how to edit these videos, but I don't, so, yeah. Good thing, check the bottom, it's only like 20 views, so that's a good thing. Of course, if it's more, delete it. All right.